Hi all, we're going to look at Karpov versus Kasparov in the 11th round of Linares 1993. I did this video a long time ago, 8 months ago. It was my second ever video, so I thought I'd revisit it actually, and this time do a bit more analysis than that one, hopefully to get a truer insight into what actually happened. It was amazing in this game how Karpov didn't seem to really develop his kingside pieces very much. He wasn't given the opportunity, so we'll see how. After d4, Kasparov played his favourite King's Indian defence, and Karpov played the Saemisch variation with f3, but he played it in a positional manner. After bishop e3, Kasparov played e5, and instead of, say, d5, Karpov played knight ge2. And here, Kasparov, instead of playing knight c6 to encourage the closing of the centre with, say, d5, knight e7, and then maybe playing for f5 later, he actually played c6, which maybe Karpov was prompted to try and target d6 without castling queenside. So he played now queen d2. So his idea is rook d1 and just try and embarrass black on the d file. Because it has been a little bit weakened by this c6 move. After knight d7, Karpov played rook d1, so he really doesn't want to castle queenside and go for a sort of more common hack attack, which is often seen in this system with, white playing h4 later. So we have a completely new route for playing the position. And Kasparov now played a6, so he's actually playing a very novel plan now of queenside counterplay with a quick b5 being prepared. Karpov played d takes e5 now, and here is how, if Kasparov didn't play energetically, he would achieve a reasonable position, but not very many winning chances. Let's have a look. Say he had played a standard d takes e5. Here is an example continuation. King f2. The king can reasonably go to f2 in this position. And let's have a look. Say the queen's got exchanged off like this. This would just be an equalish game. I don't think black has got enough to try and win this very easily on these dark squares, because white's got a space advantage on the king side and quite a solid position. With bishop h3, say a5, white's actually got a slight advantage according to Rybka. If there was ever, say, knight f4, pardon me, after a5, let's say rook h d1, king g7, maybe even white could play bishop takes e6, but let's say rook d6, knight f4 takes, and here you see this knight, although it's nice on the dark square, just knight ge2, and black wouldn't have much. The way Kasparov played it though, let's go back now, he played it very energetically. He played knight takes e5, so he's not concerned about the d6 pressure. So Karpov first reinforces his c4 to emphasise that d6 weakness. But now Kasparov just plays b5, so he's making the position extremely dynamic, and Karpov obliged to activate Kasparov's rook on a8 now, because he wants to try and win this d6 pawn. So he wins the pawn, the whole pawn up, but there's a lot of compensation which Kasparov generates very, very cleverly now. After knight fd7, Karpov plays the move f4, which maybe is a bit over-ambitious. Maybe h4, according to Rybka, is better. The way it was played with f4, allowing this knight g4, was a recipe for disaster later. So a very quick look at this kind of variation. Black would still be better in this kind of sequence. This is a Rybka variation. Say here, actually white would be better there if knight c4, but the exchange sacrifice here, with rook takes a4, would keep black with the edge. For example, this kind of continuation. It's very tactical, I know, but I just want to demonstrate that black's got a great position here, because white's development is very lagging now on the king side. So that would be better for black. So anyway, after knight fd7, f4, Kasparov actually played b4, and this is an amazing idea, because why isn't the pawn in pre? Because if queen takes b4, c5. And now look, bishop takes c5, believe it or not, knight takes c5, letting the queen be in pre, because if rook takes d8, there's an unfortunate position of the queen and king here. Knight ed3, king d2, and knight takes b4, and black will be better in this position. Massive advantage. So that's an amazing idea. This and if queen b5, bishop a6, another vicious idea. So if rook takes d7 here, knight t7, d7, black's still better. So this is an amazing conception by Kasparov to play this b4, and after this, you know, White's position is getting extremely embarrassing. He's got this terrible knight now on b1, and his king side's still not very developed. So Kasparov is going to crush Karpov from this position. Knight g4. So he's made him look, you know, very silly to play this f4. Bishop takes d4, and now after queen takes d4, rook takes a2. So black's just better now, clearly better. h3, and now c5 comes in. So the queen's forced into a terrible location on g1. It's really just embarrassing. I mean, let's have a look at what would seem to be a reasonable move. Queen d3 is bishop a6. So if queen f3, and now there'll be something like knight e5 according to Rybka. Again, leaving this queen and pre, because this just favours black. This kind of continuation, where black's winning more material because of this horrendous pin. So so the queen went back to the embarrassing g1, and after knight gf6, Karpov played e4, knight e4, and now we have a further brilliant combination from Kasparov. He plays c4, and after knight c1 just leaves an entire rook and pre. He plays c3. So this is incredible stuff. A whole rook has been left and pre here. So why? If knight takes c2, and now say Karpov had played something like rook c1, not c takes b, but just knight takes e5 here. So this is extremely tactical, because if rook takes c2 here, bishop g4, so just calmly a rook down. This is a variation of rook down. Just calmly playing bishop g4 to threaten queen d1 mate. And if rook d2, knight takes d2, knight takes, just a rook e8, and the king is just trapped in the centre, and black will be getting a massive advantage now, a winning attack. Here's a Rybka variation. So this is extremely complex tactics in this game being initiated. Just a rook down, because the white king's in the centre, which provides the backbone for doing all this sort of magical stuff. In the game, after c2, Karpov played queen d4, and he achieved a horrendous position, you know, after the exchange of queens, because all of black's pieces are better, and they're actually weaving a mating net in this final position. For example, if rook g1, it's bishop f5, and if, say, king b2, then knight d1 is mating, like this. This is a mating that's been woven. So what a complete disaster. Let's have a quick overview and summary. So it was a Saemisch variation where Karpov was trying to play it positionally with pressure on the D line, but Kasparov just threw the kitchen sink at Karpov dynamically, just dynamically activating this rook on a8, sacking the d6 pawn, provoking this f4. It's a terrible weakening move. Just h4, and maybe white could hope for a little bit better than the game. But this b4 was, you know, a simple pawn sacrifice with an amazing idea, you know, that of c5 later. So Kasparov, after forcing this retreat, he just continued to play extremely dynamically. It's like the game is quite magical, really, that Karpov, his development was so embarrassing on the king side, and his king still in the centre. And this final breakthrough with c4, just this c pawn's doing a runner, just allowing the rook to be munched on a2. It's just incredible variations here. So, and this exchange of queens, Kasparov not even minding the exchange of queens, because his pieces are now killers in this final position, just mating white or winning lots of material. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that game. Please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.